you guys, it's me, Crystal, and today I'm going to talk about my 2019 goals and my fourth quarter goals for 2019, and then also talk about my 2020 goals and my first quarter goals for 2020. And also, I want to show you guys my top 3, favorite books that I read in 2019. So I experimented with making monthly TBRs in 2019, and I want to continue making monthly TBRs in 2020. But I was originally going to go through each month's TBR and talk about how I did, but then I started looking at it and I was like, this is actually not going to be as fun as I think it's going to be in my head. It seems like it's actually going to be kind of tedious. So instead, I'm just going to show you guys my top 3 favorite books and then talk about goals. So I did want to mention that I had a list of priority books that I wanted to incorporate into my TBRs in 2019, which is one of the main reasons why I was doing monthly TBRs to begin with. And so I had 15 books on the priority list, and I only read 2 of them. So I want to get better at actually making sure I'm incorporating 1 or 2 of those books into my TBRs next year, well, in 2020, because I have 13 books on my priority list for 2020, and so obviously I need to read at least 1 of those books a month if I'm going to get them all read. And so yeah, these books are not in any particular order. All of these books are they're all equally amazing, and I don't want to be super dramatic and be like, these books changed my life, but I kind of feel like these books changed my life. They were just so good, and I don't know how they changed my life, but I just feel like I'm a different person after reading these books somehow. Anyway, so like I said, in no particular order, the first book is Wicked Deep by Shane Earnshaw. And in case you don't know, this is a YA paranormal, and it's about this town. And a couple hundred years ago, there was these 3 sisters accused of being witches, and they threw them in the ocean where they drowned. So a year later, and every summer since, they come back at the start of summer, and for the length of summer, they possess the bodies of 3 local girls and then drag a bunch of dudes to a watery grave. Vengeance. So I just thought this was fantastic. It was engaging. It was everything I want to be. So this is what I'm shooting for, right? Just something that's dark and haunting and beautiful and gorgeous. I'm pretty sure Shane Earnshaw is my new most favorite writer of all time. But anyway, next, a book that I totally fell in love with is Unlocked by Margot Kelly. This is a dark, white, contemporary with supernatural elements. So this book is about this girl, and she goes to a hypnotist show, and she gets called up on stage and she gets hypnotized. Well, after the show, she starts seeing little ants everywhere, and ants are just crawling everywhere. And so while she's driving, she imagines all these ants just crawling all over her, and she wrecks the car, and oh my gosh, it's horrible. It's horrible. That car crash scene was haunting. It was horrifying, and obviously awesome in from a storytelling perspective. Anyway, so yeah, throughout the book, she's seeing things and she's having these weird memory lapses, and this book just completely rocked my world. I was not expecting it. I think somebody on my Goodreads friends list or something read it, and I was like, oh, I like the cover because there's a carnival on the cover. It's so good. It's so good. It's so dark. And I like authors that take risk. And that's another reason why I like the Wicked Deep so much. It's they took a risk and they pushed the boundaries. And I was like, oh, I'm so jealous. And it was so good. And it's I cannot recommend this book enough to people who like dark fiction, because it is so freaking good. Anyway, and the last book in my top 3 is obviously Snow Glass Apples by Neil Gaiman, and this is an adult horror fantasy Snow White retelling. And this, which I said in my reading wrap-up video where I talked about this book is a fairy tale retelling of my dreams. And it's so good. It's so freaking good. Snow White is this creepy little monster, and oh my gosh, the pictures and the artwork She's so creepy, and it is dark. It is so dark, like in the absolute best way. It's so dark. Like, it's disturbing. Like, super disturbing in places. But, oh my gosh, I'm so in love with this book. I'm so in love. I started reading it, and I just read it all the way through, and I just couldn't stop, and I just dropped everything I was doing. And like I said in my review, I want like 1,000 more retellings just like this. They're like super dark and creepy and atmospheric. It was beautiful. And yes, I love Neil Gaiman, and this is one of my new favorite books of all time. So yeah. So on to my 2019 goals. And I had 3 goals for 2019, and that was to write and edit 2 books, hit the E6 in the Phantom of the Opera, and read 60 books. So this year was just not a good year for goals. I'm pretty sure in 2018 I hit all of my goals, or at least most of my goals, and to only have 3 goals and to only really hit one of them, but whatever. When it came to writing and editing 2 books, I could give myself like partial credit for this, but I'm not going to give myself any credit, because it's like, while I am capable of doing this, I went into 2019 with like my brain with writing. I was like burnt out. Everything was scattered. Everything was crumbling around me. All the melodramatic things around my writing. It was just a really not a great year for writing. And since writing is a huge part of my life, I just felt like, you know, everything just fell apart early, and there was just like a rain cloud following me around everywhere I went, and it wouldn't lift. There was nothing I could do about it, and I was on a rickety bridge, but I didn't know it was a rickety bridge until it crashed and then it buried me. Like I said, all the melodramatic things. So I didn't do this, and then hit the E6 in the Phantom of the Opera. So I got to a point in 2018 where I could hit a D6, and it like sounded good in my opinion. And then, I don't know what happened. I get to 2019, and then all of a sudden, every time I sing, it sounds bad. And it just sounds like there's like, I don't know, like a cotton ball in my throat. And so then there's other things, like this is a long story, but long story short, I kind of gave up like in March or April, and then I decided to try again like in May, and then I gave up again in like June or July. And it's not that I'm not capable of hitting this note, because like I said, I could hit a D6 before the year started. It's because I can't relax, okay? I can't relax, and there's just, like I said, it's kind of a long story. But this goal is on hold until I can figure out how to practice and be comfortable at the same time. And that's just not happening right now. So, moving on. Goal 3, read 60 books. Yes. Okay. Like, I attacked this goal, you guys. I started off the year, like, really good. Like, I had read, like, I don't know, 20-something books by the end of March. Like, things were going really well. And then, yes, I finished my reading goal with a little over a week to spare. So, I just feel like I should celebrate or something. I haven't read this many books in a year, probably since I was, like, in high school. So, yeah, so this felt super good. Yes. Okay, so for my 4th quarter goals in 2019, I really only had 2 goals, and that was to read 9 books to finish my reading goal. So, check. And my second goal was to finish Winter, which Winter was the book that I was working on when I made those goals. And then like right after I made those goals, like probably, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks in, like I switched projects. And then I worked on the Puppet Box for NaNoWriMo, which I did finish Puppet Box. So I am giving myself a check mark for this goal, because I did finish a book. It just wasn't that book. So yeah, so 100% on my 4th quarter goals for 2019, and 33% for my goals for the year overall. But when you have a bad year, I just feel like a good year has to follow. Yeah, so I'm choosing to be optimistic going into 2020, and it's just going to be amazing, and I'm going to get all these things done. And yeah, so I have 10 goals for 2020. Now, a lot of these goals are like reminders of things I want to make sure I'm working on from month to month. And then I have 5 goals for quarter one, and I have 7 goals for January. So I'm not going to go over all of these because some of them are kind of classified. They're not really, but it's kind of like I don't want to say anything until after I actually do it, and then I'll say something. Maybe. So, my first goal for 2020 is to write and edit 1 book. And the reason why I said 1 book, even though I know I can do more, is because I think I was a little too ambitious for the mindset that I had. And so, because my mindset is still not optimal, then I would like to not start the year with something, with a kind of lofty goal, right? And so this is something I know I can do, and so I'm like, if I just focus on writing 1 book, then I'm pretty sure I can write and edit 1 book by the end of the year. Please. Especially because I'm a relatively fast writer, and I'm like, there's no excuse for this. Goal 2 is to read 53 books. So I'm lowering my reading goal just a smidge, because trying to average 5 books a month on top of whatever else I'm doing, it was just a lot. But I think, I've gotten into a really good regular reading habit. And so I feel like reading 4 books a month on average is doable. I mean, obviously some months I'll read a little bit more and some months I'll read a little bit less. And hopefully it'll all average out and I'll have the 53 books finished by the end of the year. So related to that goal is I want to actually buy less books. I'm not going to tell you guys how many books I bought in 2019. It was way too many. It was more books than I read. I'll just say that. And I'm like, look, I'm trying to catch up, okay? I'm not trying to have like a bottomless TBR. I'm actually trying to get to a point where it's like I actually read all the books that I have in my house, and then I can like go hunting for like more books and like start hitting up the library for some reads and like whatever. And so like I would like to actually catch up on my TBR. And in order to do this, I have to be buying less books than I'm reading. And so I decided that my goal is to buy no more than 26 books, which you think wouldn't be that hard, but we'll see. And then I have another goal to save a certain amount of money in my car fund, because I'm trying to finish my car fund, because I have a Honda and it's not that old. But, I mean, I say it's not that old. The car is like 11 years old. Oh, it's 12 years old. Anyway, cars don't last forever. And I would feel really good if I could finish my car fund by the end of 2020. So that way, if something happens to my Honda, which probably won't, but if something happens, at least not natural causes happen anyway, then I can get another car and then I'll have to worry about it. So, and then related to that goal, I have like a general goal to stick to my budget, because I'm trying to like do better about like sticking to my budget so that I can actually get all this money saved that I want to save. So, and then I have like a general goal to work on my hobbies. I do have a specific like just like I have a specific like monthly savings goal in order to meet my target, like a minimum savings goal. And then I have like, a very specific hobbies goal, like what hobbies I'm working on and how often I want to work on them. I do have that written down, but for my general goals, I just have work on hobbies. And then my next goal is I want to study Spanish, because I took I took French in high school, and then my parents moved, and the next school, this is a soapbox, they only had Spanish. So I was forced to start over and take Spanish 1 and then Spanish 2. And then I took French in college. And I want to also study French and see if I can get to a point where I can understand what people are saying when they're talking. But I thought I'd start with Spanish, since that seems to be more practical. But that's also something I want to do. And I'm like, if I can get the Spanish down, then I'm sure I can get the French down. So, yeah. So my goal is to study Spanish and try to at least get to the point where if somebody says something, I can understand the gist of what they're saying. We'll see. Especially since I'm doing this on my own. And the last goal is to take a minimum of 5 master classes. So I'm signing up for master class in 2020. and I'm going to take Neil Gaiman's class for sure, R.L. Stein, and then like I have like a whole list of people, and so I have 5 people whose classes I definitely want to take. Like, I think Dan Brown's also in the top 5, and Natalie Portman's acting class, and then I think there's a screenwriter. I think it's Aaron Sorkin. I also want to take his master class, and then if I have time, I want to take some other master classes, mostly out of curiosity, and you know, a couple more writers, and then like, you know, Christina Aguilera, and then like there's, I think she's a cook. I didn't actually write down what anybody does, but anyway, so I want to take at least 5 though, because those are the 5 that are like most important to me, and then we'll see if I have time to take some more. So those are all my 2020 goals. So I'm not going to go over my January goals just because they're like related to my goals. Like, you know, take Neil Gaiman's masterclass, save so much money in my car fund. They're all stuff like that. And there's also like some duplicates on my quarterly goals. So let's talk about my quarterly goals for the first quarter of 2020. Okay, so I have 5 goals for quarter 1, and the first one is to read 13 books. So this will get me like 1 book ahead of my overall goal, I think, or at a minimum at least keep me on track. So then my second goal is to start and finish Neil Gaiman's masterclass, which I think I can do within a month, even though I have other things I want to do, and I don't know how long this is going to take, but I would like to finish it by the end of January, so I can actually like get going good on my book that I'm trying to write. Which, speaking of, my third goal is to start Tower, and Tower is the working title for my WIP, my work in progress, which right now I'm just calling like a futuristic fantasy. So I figure I'll spend the bulk of January like organizing my notes. Like, I already taken a bunch of notes, but they're not like in my official notebook, and so I want to organize notes in my official notebook and then get to the point where like I can get the story started and moving and going. There's just like, you know, because it's set in the future, I just have like some logistical things I gotta work out, and yeah. So I have the gist of everything kind of sort of written down. Things are scattered. I have notes on my phone, and I have notes on random pieces of paper, and I have notes in a workbook. So I'm trying to get everything centrally located so I can see what I have, because I don't know what I don't know. And so I figure if I have everything in one place, then I can look at it, and then maybe I can start asking myself some questions to try to figure out if there's, you know, anything else that I'm not seeing that I need to know so that I don't come to a full stop in my story where I'm writing because there's some kind of weird logistical issue. Anyway, so my 4th goal is to finish my Spanish workbook. So I have a workbook of Spanish stuff, and so I want to get through that and then see if, you know, how things are going, and if I want to like use some kind of software or something and continue whatever. And then my last goal is related to one of my classified goals, and I was gonna say what it was related to, but then I was like, if I say what it's related to, then people can probably guess what it is, and so whatever. Like I said, it's just something I want to try, and when I'm done, we'll see if it's worth talking about. It probably won't be worth talking about, but anyway. So those are all of my goals, and hopefully I can get this video edited down to something that's digestible, and yeah. So feel free to share your goals for 2020 so we can all cheer each other on, because I just feel like 2020 is going to be a really good year, and I hope it's a good year for a bunch of other people. I mean, obviously it can't be a good year for everyone, but yes. So I hope you had a great 2019, and let me know how you did on your goals, or if you even make goals, and how you stick to your goals. And Happy New Year, and I will see you guys in the next video, and yeah.